This session we are going to see about PHP function. The function is a group of statements that perform a specific task and can be used multiple times in a program. Function has a name and it returns a value. It may also have a list of arguments and it gets executed when a call is made. There are two types of functions in PHP: user-defined functions and built-in functions. Now we are going to see about user-defined functions. Uh, this is for the syntax for defining a user-defined functions are keyword function followed by name of the function, and within the bracket you are having a argument list, and within the block of statement to be executed, and finally you are having a function call. That function call should have a function name followed by actual arguments. The function is the keyword used to create or declare a function. The function name represents the name of the function. Argument 1, 2, etc. represents the arguments to be to the function, and these are optional. The statement 1, 2 are valid PHP statements to process the arguments. Return is a keyword used to return a value from a function to calling program if any, and it is optional one. Rules for function name. Only alphabetic characters, both uppercase and lowercase, digits from 0 to 9 and the underscore can be used. Function name can start with an alphabet or an underscore but not with the digit. Function names are not case sensitive. Case and small case treated as a name of a function. Function calling. Function can be called by function name followed by arguments if any. The arguments are optional. It can be used as many times as we want by passing different values to it. If we call a function without passing any value, then it takes the default value if any. Otherwise, it gives an error message. Function arguments. The arguments are used to pass information to the function. We can pass one or more arguments within the parentheses and are separated by commas. At the time of call, values are assigned to the arguments. Next, return statement. This statement ends the execution of a function and optionally returns a value. We can return single value, array, or objects. By using array or objects, we can effectively return multiple values from a PHP function. If no return value is specified, null is returned by default. This example shows how to define a function with arguments and without arguments. First function, I have written function my message without arguments. It prints a message hello world, and the second one which accepts one argument and print the message with that name. So first one only the hello world will be printed, but the second one I am passing the value Uma, so the output will be hello Uma will be printed. In this is another example. This example accepts a numeric value, and another example is going to show the default arguments. So if you pass the argument, the corresponding function will be executed. So we have written add, multiplication, division, and modulus, where addition, multiplication, division are having only the arguments, and mod function is having default value. So if you are passing if you are using default argument, you are going to initialize that argument with some value. In this mod function, I am initializing first argument with the 10 value, and for the second argument with value 6. If you are passing a value, that default will be discarded, otherwise that value will be treated as an original value. In the mod function, I didn't pass any value to the function, so automatically it takes the first value as 10 and the second value 6. When I passing the value mod of 10, 20, so that value will be passed as an n1 and n2, that the corresponding remainder will be printed. So another one is example 3. with return statement. So previous example without return statement, here this function is going to return. So if a function return a value, we have to specify the left hand side or somewhere we are going to receive that value. Here function sum of x comma y that print the result of x and y, and it return the value. That value will be received here. Automatically the echo statement receives that value and it prints the corresponding result. Likewise square and cube. Here this example shows how we are going to return a multiple values. When you are going to return a multiple values, we are using an array. So with the help of array, we can return a multiple values. Here we are in this function, we are initializing the name with some value, age and department. We are going to return all the three values by using array. Similarly, when you are going to extract the array elements, we are using a subscript. So user info of 0 is going to print the first value. Similarly, user info of 1 is going to print the next second value. Likewise, you can get the corresponding value by using an index. Similarly, you can pass an array as an argument. So when you are passing an array as an argument, likewise you are going to use the subscript for extracting the elements from that array. Here user info of 0 is going to receive the name of the name which will be available in the first value. For the second value, user info of 1. For the third value, user info of 2. So variable number of arguments. So we suppose we didn't know the number of arguments by for passing a function, we can have the option in PHP to specify the variable number of arguments. By using the triple dot operator in front of the function parameter, the function accepts an unknown number of arguments. This is also called veridict function. We can only have one argument with variable length, and it has to be the last argument. The veridict function argument becomes an array. So in this example is going to show the variable number of arguments. Some numbers before that variable you are going to specify triple dot. It indicates that function didn't know the number of values that variable is going to receive. So here I am passing some 6 values. That x will be treated as an array. So that array is going to receive all the 6 values, and within the for loop I am going to extract all the values and find the sum of that value that will be printed here. Dynamic function call. In PHP, it is possible to dynamically call a function by assigning the function name as a string to the variable. These variables will have exactly same as the function assigned to them. To call a function dynamically, instead of the function name, we can use the variable name with the parenthesis. So here we are writing a function fact for finding the factorial of a given number, and dynamically we are assigning that name of the function to the PHP variable dy name. So instead of function name, I am using the dy name for calling that function. So here dy name of 5 is going to print the factorial 5. Similarly, next normal function call factorial 4 is going to print the factorial 4, and normal fact of 5 is going to print the normal factorial of 5. So another example for multiple arguments. Here I am passing some 4 different types of names, and the function is going to receive the that 4 values as an array, and it has to print all the values one by one by using a for loop. Here we are another type is arguments with the data type. So suppose we want to specify the type of the value that user is going to pass, that will be specified within the argument. So function followed by function name. Within the parenthesis, we are going to specify the type of the value that argument is going to receive. Similarly, you can have a return statement also. Here I am writing add numbers function for adding 2 numbers. Here I am passing add numbers of 5, 5 days. So one is a numeric argument, another one is a string argument. Since here strict is not enabled, so 5 days will be changed to 5. So automatically A receives 5, B also receives 5. The result 10 will be written back to the echo statement. The result will be 10. So similarly, return statement with a specific data type like argument type, we can specify the return type also. Here function followed by function name. Within the parenthesis, you can have any number of arguments with the type or without type, colon, the type of the return value. Here add numbers of 1, 5, 5. We are passing 1.2 and 5.2, and the result will be the return type. So it will ignore the floating point numbers, and the result will be 6. So last one is how we are going to use the reference. So normally we can receive the reference by specifying the ampersand symbol in front of the argument name. So function followed by function name and the argument name prefixed with the ampersand, which indicates the reference. Here num will be passed to the function. It receives the reference, so automatically that value will be altered there. Finally, we are going to print that result. So that is the reference. So automatically num and value have the same result. The 7 will be printed here. Thank you.